Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. Today I have a super exciting gameplay video to bring you. I thought for the first video of my new channel, I would showcase something super spicy, and unfortunately I didn't capture all of this game. I didn't realize that it was actually going to be super interesting until we got to this point where Alex had cast Replication when Tawny was holding one of the now three Maddening Bells that are equipped and right in front of my Geomancer. So all of my spells cost 6 additional mana. On top of that, a few turns ago, Alex had cast Atlantean Fate to cut me almost completely off of Threshold. So I ended up sinking a early Angel's Egg in the hands of a Pit Vipers, and that paired with Alex's somewhat anemic draw this game in terms of actual pressure on my life total, I was able to stabilize long enough to get to 9 mana and maneuver my Pit Vipers, which is now dead, in such a way to encourage Alex to end up right in front of my Geomancer on a bedrock with all three Maddening Bells and two Far East Assassins that have stealth. So at this point in the game, I'm going to draw sight and play Scorched Earth. Let's see what happens from there. I think that Alex plays his audio through speakers, and sometimes I can hear my voice played back uh, on Discord. So pretty much all the audio from the actual game is scuffed. So I've just gone back and done my voice doing play by play for this. I did manage to save one little choice piece of audio though from Alex for your viewing pleasure. So enjoy.
Holy shit.
So all of this very spicy and very oppressive nonsense goes directly into Alex's cemetery, right where it belongs. And now I'm free to play the game, cast spells for a reasonable price. It's two cards to two cards though. So even though I've got an Angel's Egg on the board, Alex has the ability to scry every time he casts a spell with the Fenvale Muse, and the Earthquake is potentially not going to be great against water, but in the end ends up paying big dividends. Alex's follow up to me blowing up all of his bells is to immediately draw three extra cards on top of a scry with Pact with the Devil. We realize that Tawny actually, if Alex wants to scry from the Fenvale Muse being the caster, it has to be sacrificed. Alex spends all of his remaining mana to make a lance off of the forge and cast Poweries before smacking me down to 17. I gain a life off of the egg and draw a berry for the turn. Tap for a sight. Bury the Poweries, which also buries the lance, and then play Blue Cap Knockers to scoop up that lance. At this point, Alex has 5 cards to my 1, but this Earthquake may be able to do some work on this Tintagel, depending on how things play out. Alex lays down Hamlet's Ablaze, going for some of my fire threshold, and scries off of the Fenvale Muse. He likes what he sees on top and keeps it there. Out comes Drums of Doom, and then Alex flips for Bruin. So this Earthquake is probably going to get me right back to card parity with Alex, or at least very close to card parity. I go ahead and drop color out of space. There's only one place on the board it can go. And then the devastating Earthquake here. Tintagel moving forward makes it stop being a water site. I go ahead and move the Pristine Paradise forward as well. I figure that's closer to me, then I'm more likely to be able to get a minion on it and turn off the mana there. Figure if Alex is going for the mana denial plan, maybe I can too. These Knife Snap Gnomes are unlikely to do very much, especially now that the Druid is flipped. Their only place to be is underground or on my back row, basically. Or I guess the bedrock on the far left would work. Hamlet's Blaze goes off, takes out my step, and I really quickly place the Aquamarine Core under the Tintagel from the Earthquake before passing back. Alex takes a spell for the turn, draws a sight. He's got Lady of the Lake, so he could get back Maddening Bells or one of the Far East Assassins, but I don't think he wants Bells because Tawny is gone now, and he's already moved up toward the middle, so he just throws it out there as 3/3 before passing back to me. I draw a Sandworm and tap for Varmint Warrens off the top. I come up and surface the Knockers, get in for 3 damage. And I think if I was paying better attention, I would have moved the Nice Nath Gnomes under the now non-water Tintagel to scoop up that Aquamarine Core. I throw out the Sandworm, normally not the best minion against a heavy water deck, but with the Tintagel and the Pristine Paradise forward, as well as Crossroads and Forge, I've got ample space to move around with Landbound. Alex has Geyser, which is very rude as it drowns my gnomes. Not that they were really doing much, but hey, they deserved to live. Now that the Holy Ground is a water site, Alex can throw Lugbog Cat down. And I've got a choice. I can either trade for the cat with Sandworm or try to go for the race. Alex throws down Color Out of Space, which isn't doing anything for his mana situation, but it does turn off my color. Take a spell for the turn. It is Pit Vipers, so not super great against this flipped Druid. I do get in for 3 points of damage with the blue cap knockers, though, and now I've got to decide if I want to trade for this cat or just try to race with this Sandworm. With the Angel's Egg and a 10-point life gain, I go for the race before putting a Pit Vipers underneath the cat and drawing a sight before passing back to Alex. Alex takes a spell for the turn, attacks for 4 with the cat, putting me down to 16. He drops Sneak Thief onto the Knocker's site, angling to perhaps sneak away with that lance. Alex attacks for 3 on my Color Out of Space with Lady of the Lake before playing a cat and passing back to me. I draw Grain Sparrow for the turn and attack for 7 with my Knockers and my Sandworm. Gain a life off of the egg, I think, remembered from last turn that I forgot to gain a life, so tick that up to 14. I move the Red Breast Robin up so that it can try to chump block the Lady of the Lake next turn, and then throw down Grain Sparrow. Alex realized that last turn he forgot to draw sight, so we go ahead and fix that. I take a sight for the turn on my Geomancer tap before passing back. Alex takes a spell, plays Joyous Guard, so his mana situation is getting a little better, and he gets a Warhorse down, which is able to pick up the Sneak Thief and scuttle over here to steal the lance from the blue cap knockers while maintaining stealth. So now he can threaten to eat the knockers, although I do have this Grain Sparrow for potential chump blocks. And the way that this turn is looking, Alex is probably going to Death's Door on his next turn anyway. Throws down a second Sneak Thief. These decks, man. This was so much fun. He attacks for another 3 with Lady of the Lake, and then moves the cat towards the center of the board. Before passing back to me, I gain 1 off the egg, take a spell. It is Valor, which spice level very high with these decks. I'll put it that way. I use Mirror Realm to copy Alex's Crossroads. I still have Roots of Yggdrasil and Pillar of Zeros in my deck, so I'm kind of digging for those. Although I am putting a Sinkhole to the bottom here, I figure this Gnome Hollows, the way that things are going, it looks like Alex is going to go to door, but potentially try to door me, and then hope to win from there with his large minions. So I figure if I can put a Gnome Hollows down in the corner, maybe I can run over there with my Geomancer. I go ahead and trade with the cat, I know that I can put him to door here because his minions are tapped, so I just want to get as much of his damage off of the board as possible. Alex goes to door, I gain a life of the egg, and pass back to him. Alex rips a spell for the turn, and it is Land Deed. He attacks with the cat for 4 to drop me down to 8, and then equips it with Land Deed to steal my impenetrable copse from me. I've got this Valor in my hand, but unfortunately no blockers within range of this cat. He marches Warhorse over, carrying the Sneak Thief with him. Alex swings with Lady of the Lake and walks right into the Valor on the Redbreast Robin. Might be the biggest Redbreast Robin to ever exist. I don't know how good Valor is, but man, is it a lot of fun when you get to pull it off. Alex makes the comment that the spice is definitely flowing this game. He brings the lance over with the Sneak Thief and then equips it to the Druid. Oh, nope. He decides he wants to leave it with the Sneak Thief. Druid kind of moves towards the back of the realm. Now that this cat is here with this land deed, my egg is turned off. So, and it's representing still 4 damage. So I figure I'm going to probably have to chump with the Redbreast Robin at some point. I go ahead and move the knockers up to try to keep Alex on the run while he's at 0 and deploy a Cave Trolls before passing back to him. Alex drops the land deed, temporarily giving the site back to me just so he can smack me with it. And then the Sneak Thieves do an additional 4 to put me to death's door. Warhorse moves over to pick up the dropped lance. And then a second Warhorse joins it. Alex taps for a sight and passes back to me. I draw a Root Spider for the turn, which is very fortunate, as I am now facing down a bunch of lethal attackers with only 1 blocker. Alex realizes that the landing on the cat allows him to play this second Warhorse directly on top of my head, so he goes ahead and makes that adjustment before I continue with my turn. I move the Cave Trolls forward to try to keep pursuing this Druid. Now that I've drawn the Root Spider, I figure that I'm going to be pretty safe from Alex's minions, and I just want to try to close the game out before he can draw into some kind of projectile or other way to finish me off. Alex summoning the Warhorse here because it's now his site is great, and I immediately forget that that is happening, and I try to summon this Root Spider underneath the site that Alex controls, which Alex points out to me pretty quickly that the site belongs to him and that that's not going to happen. But before he catches that, I move to the surface with Pit Vipers to break the lance off the Warhorse. And here's Alex pointing out that the Root Spider cannot be summoned there, so we go ahead and do a quick little rewind. Instead of tapping for the Gnome Hollow's placement, I just opt to summon the Root Spider onto the step and move my Geomancer safely over the top of it. Pass the turn back to Alex. He draws a spell. Now that the Root Spider is here threatening things, the Warhorse brings the cat and the land deed back over onto the bedrock. And then Sneak Thieves back off towards Alex's side of the board. I think now that I've got the spider locked down, Alex realizes that he needs to just put his resources into blocking my attacks rather than pushing any kind of aggression. I draw Cave In for the turn, though, and I'm able to kill Warhorse and both the Sneak Thieves before moving my 3 power minions up to try to go for the kill. In my haste, though, I'm forgetting that Alex has a Warhorse and a cat, and now I've just basically thrown away my blue cap knockers for nothing. Alex draws a spell for his turn, and then moves his druid forward. Seems like at this point he is realizing that minions are probably not going to be the way that this game ends because of the Root Spider. So he's going to come forward and look to finish it off with a druid ping or some kind of proximity spell, it seems like. Here, the blue cap knockers get munched by the cat for free, and I cry a little bit inside. Alex passes the turn back for me, and my draw step is additional spice. This squirrel getting a little frisky with the land deed. Definitely a big come up in the world for him. Alex points out, though, that it has to be summoned a little farther away from the druid. That is fine. He can still snatch the deed, and he is very happy about it. I think I had a little too much fun creating that little animation. But I don't know. Can you ever have too much fun? Back to Alex. He moves up with the cat, and then moves the cat up onto the bedrock with the warhorse. Not exactly sure what his plan is, but I don't like the fact that he's now started moving towards me again. Hamlet's Ablaze goes here. Alex realized that if he put the Hamlet on my avatar's site, that I would just move with the spider. I draw a second spider, though, and I'm able to sink it underneath the warhorse and the cat, completely locking down all of Alex's minions. I move my Redbreast Robin away from the Hamlet's Ablaze, and then tap to draw a site for the turn, and it's Roots. So potentially big card here, but I don't currently have any way to destroy it. Hamlet's Blaze goes off and makes a rubble. Not a whole lot of open space on the board, so this frees Alex up to play a site. He draws a spell for the turn, and things are looking pretty interesting. I've got double Root Spider here. The land deed has been safely tucked away by the squirrel. Alex is managing to build up more of a mana base here. And Fenvale Muse, I think the third for the game, is going to make sure that Alex's card quality is probably a little bit higher on average than mine. Alex has Year of the Blaze, which is pretty huge. I've got quite a bit of mana, but if he can take away 2 sites from me and force me to move away, that's going to be pretty big. Alex scries and passes the turn. I draw the third Root Spider. Alex decides that because of the positioning of the cave trolls that he wants to make a slight adjustment to his last turn here. He goes ahead and puts Year of the Blaze back so that if the trolls comes in and attacks, not only can he jump block with the Muse, but then he also gets to kill the trolls on his next turn with the Year. So doing this play prevents me from attacking with the trolls. I go ahead and drop Varmint Warrens down, which I've got a lot of beasts, but Alex doesn't seem to have a whole lot of things that target for removal. Year the Blaze blazes away and creates 4 new rebels. Alex has sacrificed 2 of his own sites here in order to prevent these trolls from coming in, and I think that he probably just wants to get some other sites down here. Alex takes a spell for the turn, and it's Angel's Egg, which obviously not what you want to see when you're at 0 life, but he's able to cast it with the Fenvale Muse and get a scry. Scries to the bottom, so good value there. At this point, Alex decides it's time to continue running away from the trolls or passing back. I take a spell, and it's Buried Treasure. There are not a whole lot of sites here that he can put buried treasure under where I can't go scoop it up pretty quickly with the spiders, which is fortunate for me. Alex gives the treasure a thorough read, and then he decides to put it into the far corner, as far away from these spiders as he possibly can. I move in with the trolls, trying to keep the pressure up here. Alex has virtually nothing on the board. Well, nothing that's not really locked down by a root spider anyway. This root spider goes underneath the Pristine Paradise and scoops up the land deed. Spider looking to get some land now. And at this point, I'm starting to worry about things like Snowball, Fire Bolts, kind of long range projectiles from both colors, or both elements in Alex's deck, rather. Alex's draw for the turn is Morgana Le Fay, which is insane here. We both have so few cards in our hand that, well, let's be honest, when is Morgana not insane? And the Fenvale Muse is to cast it, so he gets a Scry before drawing 3. Scry goes to the bottom, 3 fresh cards into the hand of Morgana. Alex considers his options and casts a Warhorse from Morgana's hand. Alex taps to play a Valley of Delight, and he goes for Water Threshold. I don't know what Alex needs 5 Water Threshold for, but it's definitely scaring me. Turn goes back to me. I draw Autumn Unicorn for the turn, which feels pretty good because it's the largest minion on the board. And I've got a Varmint Warrens to play it on, so it's going to at least survive, well, most likely survive Alex's next turn. The spider moves under with the land deed to steal the forge from Alex. And I begin the slow retreat towards the buried treasure and away from potential danger at the hands of Alex's druid. I dropped the Autumn Unicorn on the Varmint Warrens, and I could have offered the trade here for Warhorse if I wanted to. Yeah, definitely should have offered the trade. Whether or not Alex would have taken that, he could block with Morgana, or just chump with the Fenvale Muse. Um, Either one of those would have been fine. Alex is scrying off of this river and realizing that he knows what that card is from the scry last turn, and that he needed to draw that instead of the site. So we go ahead and rewind. He draws the spell for the turn, and then casts Drums of Doom, the second Drums of Doom, out of Morgana's hands. So now my Cave Trolls and my Autumn Unicorn are looking pretty silly in the face of the lethal damage. And I'm starting to feel like my turns are pretty numbered here. The way that Alex is now confidently moving towards my side of the board here. Alex decides to have the Fenvale Muse ride the horse up onto the Druid site and then take a step over. I draw Gigantism, which is going to do nothing. Nothing at all. Oh, Gigantism. Usually, usually a pretty amazing spell to draw, but obviously everything is contextual, and in this context, it would be better off as virtually any other card in my deck. That's not true, actually. There's a lot of dead draws in my deck at this point. There's another Angel's Egg, there's 2 Devil's Eggs, to name a few. Alex goes ahead and plays Ring of Morrigan, which is insane on this board. At this point now, he can just kind of march his whole entourage across the board with impunity here because of the lethal from Drums of Doom. And the Warhorse is enabling him to go twice as fast as normal, which is terrifying. I'm also a little concerned that Alex is moving 2 additional spellcasters in my general direction. And the Drums of Doom and Ring of Morrigan combo with lethal is a little nerve-wracking. Also, Alex is not casting either of the 2 spells in his hand, which means that they're either a whole bunch of mana, or he just doesn't even think that it's worthwhile to kill either the Unicorn or the Cave Trolls. But things are all about to change here as I draw Scorched Earth, which is the card I've been looking for since the last Scorched Earth that I drew, which completely changed the course of the game. So I bring the Buried Treasure to the surface here with the Root Spider, draw 2 cards, which are Nice Nath Gnomes and Autumn Unicorn, play the Roots of Yggdrasil, and scorch everything to the ground. It is all going away. I start pulling sites off the board, and Alex asks me if there's any way that I have to close the game out quickly after this. I show him the Nice Nath Gnomes and the Autumn Unicorn, and that's good enough for him. He goes ahead and scoops it up. Holy smokes, what a game! That was so much fun to play and a ton of fun to go back and edit and make this video of. If you're interested in deck lists, you can find those in the description below the video. I hope that if you guys pick up the decks, you have as much fun as Alex and I did here today, and we'll see you back for more soon.